welcome to GenX Journeys. I'm Paul Stressner, and so I start every show with something I'm grateful for. And after all the crazy wildfires and all the smoke that came over here in the Northeast last week, and like seems like half the country it was like all nasty out. Now we have beautiful weather again. I'm sitting outside on my deck, beautiful sunshiny weather, so I'm enjoying that we got past that and life goes on. So that's just, yeah, something off the top of my head I'm grateful for today. And it's coming out, speaking of coming out of the fire, today's guest is Dr. Linda Varisco, a best-selling author of The Girl with the $1 Million Smile trilogy. Linda has lived through remarkable success, devastating setbacks, and an incredible journey of rebuilding her life. And today she's using those experiences to encourage others to find hope, resilience, and purpose no matter what chapter they're in. And Linda, I'm looking forward to hearing more of your story. So welcome to Gen X Journeys.
Thank you, Paul. Pleasure to be here.
And as I start with every guest, what are you grateful for today?
I'm grateful that I woke up. I have this beautiful life, this beautiful space that I created, and I'm grateful for every day.
Yeah, that's perfect. And yeah, I think you had emailed me maybe like a couple of weeks ago, and I was just fascinated by your story, which it wasn't fascinating for you at the time that you were like going through
No.
it. But so let's start from the beginning. What was life like before like everything changed? Like what did young Linda dream of becoming?
Oh, young Linda was born in New York, in Long Island, and I grew up with a gold spoon in my mouth to an Italian family. I was the first. My father just doted on me. I had the greatest childhood. I went off. I thought I was going to be an OBGYN. I went off to Villanova undergraduate, and then my mom became paralyzed from a disc, and I shifted gears and became a chiropractor.
Wow.
I had 30 years of being a chiropractor. And I met my husband on the beach in Mexico. He picked me up. I mean, what's the chances of going on a Mexican vacation, meeting a guy who's another chiropractor, another Italian guy from New Jersey originally, and we just, boom, we just clicked.
So it wasn't like a conference or anything. You just happened to
No,
be two chiropractors from America meeting up in Mexico on the
that,
beach.
it was crazy. I walked down the beach, and his father, he had come in on the red eye from LA,
uh,
and his father and his uncle were catcalling me.
oh, jeez.
They were there for this giant family reunion.
Mhm.
And on the way back down, Joseph came up to me. We had this whirlwind romance, beautiful Italian wedding. We just were so in love.
Yeah.
And then life happened.
Now, so did you have a chiropractic practice together?
Yes, we did.
Yeah. Hmm.
So I started on my own, and then he wound up taking the Florida boards and joining me down here in Florida. We built this amazing practice.
Hmm. Yeah. And then things started happening.
Well, in 2002, yes, in 2002, he said to me, "Come on, I'm taking you for lunch." And he takes me to this building on Oakland Park Boulevard. I'm in South Florida, by the way. Coral Springs, out, Fort Lauderdale, Boca Raton area.
Yeah.
He takes me to this building and goes, "This is our retirement." He said, "This is a shithole. I don't like it." So I wanted to continue to write a check for $2,500 a month and be done. And I said, "No, I don't want to do it." And he goes, if your father puts his seal of approval on it, we'll run the numbers. Would you do it?" And then once he involved my father, I was like, "Yeah, if my dad puts his seal of approval on it, we'll go forward."
Hmm.
So we did. We wound up buying the building,
Yeah. Yeah.
which
Yeah.
is the start of my professional destruction. But
Mhm.
what happened was a series of events happened, and what I thought was depression was actually drug addiction. He opened a business. It was a drug-free workplace. Do you know have them? I'm sure you do. Pre-employment drug testing.
All right, that's
And
come up popular now. Yeah.
yeah,
Mm.
we were like the start of it. This is going back in the 1990s.
Hmm.
And He brought in this guy. He had a connection with Columbia Hospitals. I'm going to make a long story short. These people did him wrong. And he said, I said, just pay them really good. You don't have to give them parts of the business. He didn't, of course, listen to me because we had agreed when we got married that we would act as a team. And he went against the team. And that was the beginning of trouble for us because I was adamant about him not doing what he did. And so he brought my brother in. He gave him 5%. He brought his friend Nick in from New York, gave him percentage, and then he gave these people. And before you knew it, they had controlling shares, and he was fired from his own.
Wow.
Knocked on the back of the chiropractic office that day. They took his car. They took his phone. You know, this is the unexpected stuff that life happens. I mean, if he would have listened to me, it doesn't matter at this point. So he lost everything. I brought him home. He went into the bedroom and proceeded to have what I think is a nervous breakdown. Didn't come out for 10 days. I had to feed him. I had to shower him. And, you know, I sent my 3.5-year-old son in there to try to cheer him up. And then finally we wound up in a litigation. They were fighting me. They weren't fighting him. He was like beaten after that. And you know, I kind of like kicked the pedestal that I had him on out from under him. But, you know, I was pregnant for my second kid and we just kept going. And I brought him back to the chiropractic world and, you know, we built up a practice again. You know, the practice was great. We were like the Barbie and Kent of the chiropractic world. And then his father gets sick. He was a famous doctor from New Jersey, gets sick, winds up dying, and he goes into that slump again. And he used to carry this accordion folder around with him. So one day he was sleeping. I thought it was depression. I started to snoop inside that accordion thing, and I pull out like a little plastic bag with a money sign on it. And it looked like 2 ball bearings in it. I didn't know what the hell it was. So I put it in my pocketbook. I go to the office. I said to my massage therapist, Big Daddy, I pulled it out. I go, what is this? You stuck to Linda, where'd you get it? I go, what is it? He goes, it's crack. It was crack pipe. It was crack rocks. So I was in complete disbelief. Like, here's this handsome Italian man. We had this beautiful house, kids, and he was doing crack.
Do you think he was starting to do that? You know, before he made the dealings with those guys.
I know. I
No,
think it
it was-
started somewhere when we went to his father's funeral in New Jersey.
Okay.
I came home early to run the practice and the kids, and he stayed on with his friends. And I think he started using. I don't know how it happened.
Sure.
He wasn't doing it around the house because I would have known.
Right.
And so, like every Italian woman, I set him up. You know, scorn. I didn't know how to confront him with it because, let's face it, well, he would have denied it.
Exactly.
Right? One night I woke up and I hear him talking in the garage. It was like 3:00 in the morning, and I kind of go and I'm listening, and he's obviously talking to a woman. So I said, okay, I'm going to make something happen. So a few days go by, and my trainer canceled, and he moved the session till nighttime. So I told him I didn't want to let it go too long because I was afraid I had kids, you know. So I came home at like 7:30 at night. He's standing in the garage with the 2 kids, and he goes, where were you? I said, I told you I had to go training. And he says to me, I have a meeting. And I'm thinking to myself, where the hell does he have a meeting at 7:30, 28 at night?
Wow.
So I don't make a scene. He leaves. I bring the kids in. I bathe them. I read them the 100 stories. You know, they were little. Put them to sleep. I took a shower, put on my Victoria's Secret pajamas, and I'm laying in bed saying, he's at that condo. Because his father had a condo here in Florida before he passed away.
Okay.
That's where this whole thing was happening.
Oh, all right.
So I forgot to mention that I knew that was where it was happening. So when he was sleeping one day, I grabbed his keys and I made copies of every key that I didn't know what it was. Well, and that night, I decided to go to that condo. I I just left the kids sleeping. It was 5 minutes down the road, and I went to this condo, and I knew he was in there. I saw his car.
Mm-hmm.
So the front was all closed up. The master bedroom, it was the first floor, was all closed up. But there was um, no, there was horizontal shutters, and one about 10 feet up was bent in. So I'm a woman on a mission, you know, and so like Laura Croft up the walls, I climbed up and I peered in.
Mm-hmm.
And there he is on top of some woman going at it.
Jeez. Oh.
And well, I'm laughing now. I wasn't laughing then. And I stood there like in disbelief, like watching them for like 20 seconds. Like I couldn't believe it. And then my legs started to shake because don't forget I was spread eagled 8 feet up the
Hang it
wall.
up. Mm-hmm.
I jumped down. I went to my car and I started to cry from the depths of my soul, one of those ugly cries. And then I had like the angel on my left shoulder. Go home, Linda. Your kids are sleeping, but yeah, go home. No, go in, confront them. That was the duality that we all have inside of us.
Mm-hmm.
And I went from hysterical crying to like, zoop, like, and I go, I'm going in.
So you had like a sense of calm all of a sudden, like you just
Yes.
yeah.
It was like the calm after the storm.
Right.
Exactly, Paul.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's the only way I can explain it.
Mm-hmm.
Took my key and I walked in. And they're going at it. I walked past the kitchen into the master bedroom and I lean on the door jamb like this. And then she spots me. Like, this is the crap that you see in movies.
Right.
This was my life.
This is
Okay?
real life, yeah. Wow.
So she spots me.
Mm-hmm.
She taps him. He looks over like did a double take. Now they were definitely high on this drug, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And he says to me, "How'd you get in?" I go, "Does it really matter? I'm here now." So with this, nobody says anything. So then I take a step in the room and I said to her, "Do you know he has a wife and 2 kids home?" With this, she pushes him off. I says, "If I was you, I would get out of here." She wasn't the target of my wrath.
Mm-hmm.
He was.
Yep.
He was just the flavor of the day.
Mm-hmm.
She grabs her purse, her clothes, her panties, and runs half naked out of the condo. When she pushes him off and she gets up, this is going to be repulsive. There was a bloody towel underneath her. Now she didn't just lose her maidenhood, okay?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So now he's got no protection on, and I'm thinking to myself, "Oh my God, what have I been exposed to?" You know.
Mm-hmm.
So something snapped. I don't know if it's an Italian thing. I don't know if it's a woman scorn thing. I don't know if it's a Scorpio thing or a combination of all the above. I picked up the corner of that bloody towel and I proceeded to beat him. Kick him, get him. Now he's strung out and he's doing this and then I somehow get him on the floor. I'm kicking him. And it was only after my body stopped. I couldn't move anymore. I was all perspired. I couldn't move. It was like the Tasmanian devil running around and like you can't really see what's going on. It's just movement.
Right. Did you see part of the fun? Did you literally see red? Like something took over you and you just...
Yeah, it was like an altered ego kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Then after my body could no longer beat him up, I proceeded with the profanity. And I was linking superlatives together that I didn't even know existed.
That's the Italian part.
Yeah. Definitely. And with this, I brushed my hair back. I was completely perspired. I brushed my hair back and walked out like the boss and drove home like a maniac to my kids, which I left alone.
Yeah, right.
I ran in the house. I checked them. They were fine. Then, like you see in the movies, I go in the garage. I get the hefty bags, and I start all the clothes and ties and suits all wound up in garbage bags. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm cursing and I'm like, you know, I was beyond myself. I was
Mm-hmm.
beyond myself. That was the beginning of the end of my marriage. That was so beautiful. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, he was a great dad. I don't know what point. I have my suspicions that that lawsuit kind of shifted him.
Mm-hmm.
So the next morning, it's June. I'll never forget it. He comes into the garage and he goes, "What? You didn't make me coffee?"
Oh my gosh. Wow.
I thought I was going to
Did,
pounce on him like a puma, but my kids were there.
uh-huh. Yeah.
So, daddy, daddy, daddy,
Mm-hmm.
and then they ran off. And I said to him, I got in his face, I go, "I will never make you another cup of coffee as long as I live." I said, "Your shit's in the garage, take it." I said, "You got a decision now to make. You either go for help and clean up or you get the hell out of my life."
Mm-hmm.
And he did go into a rehab. It didn't last. His sobriety didn't last for long. Then one day, it was a Saturday. I don't know how much detail you want me to go in. He almost killed my son in a car accident.
Oh, jeez.
Fell asleep at the wheel.
Yeah, what was he using at that point? Like wasn't sober when he was
When he
so,
came to pick up my son, I pulled he had sunglasses on. I pulled his glasses on. I said, "Joseph, please let me drive you. And you want to take the kids, that's fine." It was only my son.
mm-hmm.
And he goes, "No, no, I got it." And he like started to raise his voice, and I didn't want the kids to witness that.
Mm-hmm.
So I let him go, but when he pulled out of the driveway, my stomach went into knots. It was like one of those. I got the call from
Premonition.
Broward General. He was in the hospital. They never drug tested him, Paul.
Oh.
So my son was he had to have emergency surgery.
Oh.
The seatbelt, he was 10, he was 90 pounds. The
Mm-hmm.
seatbelt impacted his bowel.
Uh-huh.
He was projectiling. Nothing
Oh.
was going through. So that was the line in the sand for me. So I decided he came to visit his son.
Mm-hmm.
I spent every night, if it wasn't me, it was my mother, my father who spent the night with him in the hospital. I was still trying to work during this whole
Right.
process as a chiropractor.
Yeah, so your
So
own
I,
business, so you have like that responsibility on top of everything else going on.
yeah,
Yep.
now I got two kids I'm raising. He
Mm-hmm.
basically stepped away from the picture. I could go into the divorce because we went for mediation.
Yep.
And he hired a personal injury attorney that we used to work with for car accident cases. And the guy came in, he gave me a kiss. He goes, "Listen, I understand the scenario, Linda. I'm not going to beat you up too bad." Okay. Yeah. So it was bad.
uh,
It was so bad that I lunged across the conference table to try to strangle the guy. And the mediator, who was an Italian judge, a retired judge,
mm-hmm.
we had hashed it out. Divorce is so ugly, and you
Mm-hmm.
see the ugly side of people.
Mm-hmm.
And when my father-in-law died, my husband was a very wealthy man. So that money would have paid off our house,
Right.
paid off this building that I never wanted.
Mm-hmm.
We would have been set.
Yep.
But no, hookers and
Bunch
crack
of
is
shit.
more exciting.
Mm-hmm.
So he says, I want you out of the house by the time the kids turn 18 and all this stuff. So it was ugly. And then he says to me I thinking it's almost over. And then he goes, "And I want the BMW." He bought me a BMW when my son was born. It was 11 years old at this point.
Uh-huh.
So I look at him and I felt the anger, pile up inside me. Oh, I was ready. And the mediator said to me, "Come on, Linda." And he took me out of the room. And I said to him, I go, "Mike, if I was your daughter, what would you say?" He said, "If you were my daughter, I'd put a bullet in his head." But I'm telling, that's what he said to me. The mediator. He said to me, "Give him the damn car and don't ever look in that rear view mirror, Linda, because he's going down and he's going to take you and the kids with him."
Mm-hmm.
And he was an older man, and I listened to him.
Mm-hmm.
I gave him the BMW, which was totaled 2 weeks later.
Oh wow. Uh-huh.
And that was it. And I started life without him.
Mm-hmm.
And then 2 years later was my birthday, November 1st. There's a knock on my door. And it's him standing there. 6'2", 230 strapping man, now about 160 pounds with a cane.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, I need to talk to you. Thank God the kids weren't home. He walks in with a cane and he hands me an MRI report. He had kidney cancer that metastasized to his thoracic and lumbar spines.
Oh,
And he says to me, I want to come home.
oh my God.
I look like for the last 2 years, where has he been? I mean, he showed up once in a while, but most of the time he was so dirty and disheveled looking. I really didn't want the kids seeing him like
Right.
that.
Mm-hmm.
So he looked like he belonged under a bridge. And that all that time, he was actually dying. Many years when we were first married, we found out that he had a benign cyst on his kidney. But then you put this poison inside
Right.
you, and then all of a sudden it turns malignant.
Yep. Yep.
So he said to me, I want to come home. And I looked at him through tears and I said, if there weren't kids involved, I would take you home. But I'm not going to take you in this house so that you could die in front of these kids.
Mm-hmm.
And I became his healthcare surrogate. I had made all the decisions for him. Even though we were divorced, we drew up the paperwork because I got friends that are attorneys.
Mm-hmm.
And he wound up going to the hospital. They opened him up, then they closed him. It was too far gone. There was nothing they could do at that point.
Yeah.
So November 1st, he told me. January 5th, the following year, he was gone.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, that was like 2 months. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what did I teach him? What did I learn from this? First of all, I learned about forgiveness because on his deathbed, he grabbed my hand and he said, I'm so sorry, Linda. And I said to him, I go, I already forgave you. I said, I can't walk around with that anger inside of me. It would, I still have to raise the kids.
Mm-hmm.
And I taught my kids about forgiveness. And it was hard, Paul. I'm not going to lie. I mean, I worked out with a trainer. He said, Linda, we got to do some kickboxing. So I was like putting punching glove. I mean, you have to do something with
outlet.
that you feel inside, that sadness and that, and it's grief. He's dying.
Yep.
He died. I was angry at him all over again once he died. I'm like,
Right.
how did he left me with 2 kids?
Mm-hmm.
Well, he's back in New Jersey. I schlepped his body back to New Jersey. He's buried in a crypt, in a mausoleum with his dad.
Right.
I did the eulogy at his funeral with all his friends and family that were there, and nobody knew the truth.
Wow, nobody knew what happened. Oh my God.
His
wow.
sister knew. She was there. She knew what had happened, but I wasn't going to sit there in front of all his friends and his father's friends and all his. I wasn't going to badmouth him. I just didn't need to.
Yeah.
I put something in the eulogy, something about he changed and he made some decisions that I didn't align with, and but something like that, but not talking about his drug habit,
right.
And I buried him. And I took my son to the funeral. My daughter was too young. I left her with my mom.
Mm-hmm.
It started to snow that day. It was January in, New Jersey.
Yeah.
And we had a 6:00 flight. So I said to one of his friends, I said, get me to the airport. There's a 3:00 flight. Anyway, I don't want to go into, drove like a bat out of hell. And I went up to I said, please let me on the flight. I need to go home. I said, I just buried my husband. This is my son. They stopped. They were shutting the doors. The woman said to me, no, but her supervisor was behind her, heard the story, and he got on his thing. They ran us through. This was in 2009. They ran us through, in security.
Right, the TSA
and we did the walk of shame on the airplane that everybody's
looking at you. Yeah, holding up the plane. Yeah.
And then I sat down and I went like this. I went. It was hard. I did a closed casket because I didn't want people to remember him the way he looked.
Right. Mm-hmm. Wow. This just like speaks so much to your character. After everything he basically put you through, and then you really rose above. So yeah. So that's amazing.
You don't know the dark. You don't know the light unless you know the dark. And I was definitely lived in the dark night of the soul for quite a few years there.
Right.
From 2006 when I caught him, to 2009 when he died. And then, after that, I still was suffering. Then I met Mr. Right Now, and then that's a whole other story. So in my books, which I brought to an editor, he said to me, Linda, this is great. This is going to be a movie. And I said to him, great. He said, but it's too long. Nobody reads 900 pages anymore. So he sliced up the book. So book 1 is the end of my personal life. Book 2 is the end of my professional life. And then book 3 is federal camp and my takeaways.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, so like, if that wasn't crazy, I think we have time to go into your next like crazy ass story.
Isn't crazy enough for you? You need more. Oh, okay. So it's 2009. We own this building. What happens in 2009? The real estate crash, right?
The big crash. Yeah.
2 of my tenants on the second floor just disappeared overnight. So now I'm left. He's gone. I'm left with an $11,000 a month mortgage payment for this building. That's not inclusive of the $24,000 a year taxes. So really, it's 13. And I'm going. I kept his life insurance because I paid it, and I paid it all along. And I knew once in his heyday he was never going to pay it, so I kept it. And so when he died, I got $400,000. Well, I went to 200 of it trying to keep this building afloat. And then after the crash, my medical doctor, so we had an MD DC practice. Okay, we were chiropractors. He was an MD.
Okay.
He was working for us 3 days a week. He gets in trouble with Medicare for some pill mill in Miami.
Oh,
He goes out. You can't forget, it's just such bad shit over, just like one thing after another. So he leaves. And now I lost my ability to do Medicare, right? To his tax ID number. So he took 80% of the practice when he left. And I was left with 20% of practice, $13,000 a month mortgage, raising 2 kids. I'm like, so Mr. Right Now said to me, what's your biggest form of income? I go, well, it was Medicare. He goes, other than Medicare, Linda. I go, personal injury. He goes, okay, Linda, you need to go out. Everybody knows your husband. You need to go out, tell them what happened, tell them the story, and start getting some car accident cases. Okay, so I did. And people were sending some, but it takes 90 days before you see any money on them anyway. By the time you bill it, submit it to the insurance, yeah, you know the whole bit.
Yeah.
So this one attorney said to me, I think I know some people that could help you. They could buy your building. Let me put them in contact. So this guy, Manny, shows up at my office. And he goes, yeah, I worked for Felix Andrew. They would like to meet you. I said, are they interested in buying this building? Well, maybe they would buy it, or they maybe rent space. I mean, I had 6,000 square feet on my office. We had no more PTs anymore because when the doctor went, all the PTs and the OTs went out. So he set up a meeting with these guys. I went to lunch, my lunchtime the next day, and it was Sunny Isles, Florida. I had to be buzzed into this office, and immediately I felt uncomfortable. And there was this giant room with all these people getting PT. Curtains, people behind curtains. They take me into a room, and I meet these 2 Ukrainian guys. Actually, 3 at the time. And they're researching me. They're all on computers. They have cameras everywhere. Every hair on the back of my neck stood up. And I said, I met with them. I had this conversation. I leave. I call up Mr. Right Now. I go, I'm not going with these guys. Something doesn't feel right to me. I'm going to follow my instinct. Okay, Linda. So later that night, this woman calls me, who we used to send all our MRIs to. She was a good friend. I knew her 25 years. I heard you met Felix and Andrew. I said, yeah, but I'm not going to go with them. I don't know what they're up to, but I didn't get a good feeling. And she goes, Linda, they are great business people. Great. Go in with them. Paul, desperate people do desperate things. And I didn't follow my gut. They came to the office the next day. They looked at the place and they go, yeah, we're going to rent the space. We'll give you $5,000 a month. I went, wow, that's really great. And he said, we're going to need, they preyed on me, honey. They really preyed because I wasn't the only person they did this with. But anyway, let's go back to the story. They said to me, Linda, we are not medical providers, so we need to get a license, an ACA license, because only medical doctors and chiropractors and people that are in can open an office. You can't, business people can't do it.
Right.
So we're going to apply for that today. So in the meantime, we're going to use your tax ID number.
So,
and I go, I don't really feel it'll only be for 3 months. Should I go on? Because that was my biggest mistake.
yeah, like, yeah, it just when you're telling it now, yeah, they really sound like scammers, and like there's all kinds of scammers, and that's the behavior. But when you're desperate like that, they know what they're doing. Yeah.
They do know what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
my friend Roberta, who pushed me to do it, she feels horrible. She's in her 80s now. What am I going to say to her? It's your fault? No, it's not
No.
her fault.
Yeah.
She encouraged me. She thought it was a way out. Well, they had 5 clinics, all under different doctors' names. Okay, but for whatever reason, the patients were coming in droves, car accident cases in droves, Paul. I pulled them into they weren't in my office. I called a meeting. I go, where are you getting these patients? I've been doing this for 25 years. Oh, Linda, we got Google. We got 411 pain. We're putting $10,000 a month to that. I believed them like an idiot. Well, it turns out that wasn't the case. So let me fast forward to 2015. I'm talking to Big Daddy, my same massage therapist. The building is on stilts, Paul, so you can see the parking lot. People park underneath it and then behind it, right?
Okay.
So I'm in room 6. And Big Daddy's grabbing a patient to bring in for a massage, and I see like 10 SUVs pull up. I go, look at that! And then all of a sudden, like somebody flipped a switch. All the doors opened at the same time. IRS, FBI, state police, Sunny Isle police, like ants on a pile, came running out. And I said to Big Daddy, I go, somebody's getting busted. Guess where they came?
Yeah, right.
Right into my
friggin'
front.
raid. Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
a raid.
Again, something that you see in the movies, you don't expect to see like in real life, and it's happening to you.
They sequestered me to my office. They put a guard outside my door. I reached over across my desk to grab my water. She goes, where are you going? I said, I'm grabbing my water. It was like, like I already was getting treated like something was really bad. And at that point, it was May 5th, 2015. At that point, we sat there. My son had just come home from college. I was so looking forward to spending some time with him for the summer. I knew at that point my life was going to be drastically changed. And it was. And I remember a cop, he was state police, and he goes, I need to go through your pocketbook. So he lists my pocketbook. He was FBI, then state police was sitting across from me. And he's going through my pocketbook. He's taking my makeup case and he's pulling like my lipstick in it. He's pulling out. I go, what do you expect to find in there? A tampon with a razor blade? I mean, like I was like kind of joking around. The guy laughed next to me, but the other guy, the FBI, didn't laugh. He didn't think I was funny. With this, they took my cell phone. They downloaded everything off of my cell phone. Took all the equipment, all the files, all the computers. There was, in 2 of the rooms, there was, what do you call them? In the ceilings. Air listening devices.
Yeah.
The phones were bugged.
Yep. Yeah.
I did not see it coming. Andrew, Felix, and I, and one of the other doctors, we all had to hire different attorneys because we're considered co-conspirators, right? So I hired a criminal attorney. He used to be a federal prosecutor in Miami, and he said to me, okay, well, just wait. I go, wait. My life completely turned upside down. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat, So I didn't have my appointment book. I didn't have anything. So that was on a Wednesday. Thursday and Friday, I went looking for attorneys. By Monday, I had bought an appointment book, and patients were coming in, and I just saw them. I said to my staff, let's just keep going the best we can. have everybody fill out paperwork again, like we're updating files, have everything written. I didn't know. I had to keep going. What else was I
Right.
going to do?
Yeah.
And then the feds, nothing moves fast with the feds,
Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
So 3 years, my attorney says to me, "Oh,
Wow.
this is a quick funny story." He said to me, "They want to meet you, the federal prosecutors, IRS." I said, "I already." He goes, "No, you need to come and meet them." So we get to the federal building, and he goes, "Okay, get naked." I go, "You think that would help?" He goes, "No, Linda, just tell them everything that you know." I got naked with all. I said, "Okay, okay." So we go in there, and told me, he said, one prosecutor is going to be the good guy, and one's going to be the bad guy. So they're going to come at you. So be prepared, be humble, and tell them everything you know. So I did. So the bad guy, he was a Jewish guy from New York. He goes like this. He goes, "Can I ask you why you're a nice Italian girl from New York?" I go, "Yeah." He goes, "Can I ask you why you're donating money to the shul, 10,000 a month?" They were washing money through the. I go, "Well, that wasn't me." He goes, "No, that wasn't you because you're really not the owner of Advanced Medical." I go, "I really am." He goes, "Then why are there two bank accounts?" He knew, you
Oh,
know, one was mine, one was theirs, right?
right. Yep.
I cooperated with the government for 3 years. It got to the point where they'd call me, I'd be on my way. "Hey, we're ordering Chinese food. What would you like?"
Oh
It
my
was
God.
like,
Wow.
you spend 3 years going through files with somebody, you get to know them.
Yeah.
"Well, you're not going to jail. Don't worry, Linda. I don't know if we can save your license, but," and for 3 years, I walked around like a deer in the headlights. I really tried. I was raising kids, teenagers at the time. It was
Yeah.
hard.
Living in limbo, basically. You don't know what's going to happen. Yeah. Uh
Exactly,
huh.
Paul.
Uh huh.
So, I took a plea deal. I pleaded guilty. Now I had to testify against them. It was Christmas week. They called me. "We need to get you in immediately." I said, "I'll be right now. I'm leaving." So I went down there. Everybody took a plea. So you don't have to testify. I got up. I
Yeah.
was down in the FBI office. They're like, "Linda, sit down." So I sat down. Then it was all over. They got these guys. And now they got 8 years. And then with good time, that's 6 years. And then with COVID hitting,
Mm.
they were arrested right on the spot. So it was like, I think it was 17, October 17, they went in
Uh huh.
and they started serving their time. Me, I was still out and about. So I have to go now in front of the judge. It was a little small federal courtroom. My mother was there. She's older. I go, "Ma, I really don't think you should go." "No, I want to be there. You're my daughter, my kids." And then all these patients came out of the woodwork, Paul. It was standing room only. And so I'm sitting there with the judge, and I remember this. You want to talk about an out of body experience? I remember him banging the gavel down and sentencing me to a year and a day because without me, they wouldn't have been able to do the billing, right? So I was as guilty. I was guilty by association, even though
That's
nothing was billed
ridiculous.
that wasn't performed.
Mm-hmm.
It was just they believed that the whole thing was a fraud. They were paying off people on the streets and stuff, but not me. I was the idiot in the office seeing all these people.
Mm.
So they banged the gavel down, a year and a day, and Linda left. I had an out of body experience. I remember my attorney shaking me. I remember my mother crying. And I remember him writing 10 months, because a year and a day translates to 10 months in Fed terms. With this, they take me out of the courtroom, two ZZ Top looking, I mean, these were like scary looking ZZ Top marshals, U.S. Marshals. They take me upstairs, they fingerprint me, and I'm not there. Like I'm physically there, but I'm not there. They
Mm-hmm.
said, "Okay, you can go. You have to self-surrender on June 1st." This was March.
Uh huh.
The judge was kind enough to allow me to see my daughter graduate high school and my son to graduate college. And then I had to self-surrender June 1st. Crazy stuff.
Yeah. Now,
So what did they do?
were there other? They were doing stuff with other practices too, right? Did anything happen with the other people? that they
Yeah,
scammed? Did they get screwed
yeah.
too? Yeah,
All these doctors, yeah.
yeah.
But it was my office that they raided.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you why they raided it. Because they brought this beautiful Russian, Ukrainian girl in there to run the front desk.
Mm-hmm.
And she smoked. So one day I went, she was on the fire escape of the building. So we weren't in the office now.
Mm-hmm.
And I said to her, I said, this woman in room 4, I don't believe she's injured. I think you should dismiss her as a client. Well, that was on the tapes that I listened to. She was wearing a wire.
Oh, wow.
So she got in trouble with something. I suspect drugs.
Mm-hmm.
It was crazy. And then she turned over her boss, and her bosses, and I went down in the aftermath.
Oh, unbelievable. So sorry that you went through that. And then you ended up in So did you do like you? So were you there like the full 10 months?
So 10 months translates to 7 months in the camp, and then we need to do another podcast. I could just do the podcast about the camp. That's a mouthful in itself.
Mm-hmm.
So it translates to 7 months in the camp and 3 months in a halfway house,
Mm-hmm.
or 2 months in a halfway house and house arrest with an ankle bracelet, or you can stay the 10 months at the camp. I chose to do the halfway house because I figured I could work, and I could be close to home, and that after a month they allow you to come home for the weekends. But they call yourself, they won't use a cell phone. They call your landline like 2-3 times a night to make sure. Like, I don't know why the ankle bracelet's not enough. They got to call you and wake you up at all hours of the night. It was an experience that I look back on now and I go, I can't believe I lived through this crap.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep.
And the girl that walked into that camp is not the same girl that walked out of there. It profoundly changes you. Profoundly. And you're not in with other white collar workers, You're in with cartel women that are transporting drugs up their orifices, and so you got doctors. My North Miami Beach mayor was in there with me. Bernie Madoff's secretary was in there with me.
Oh, wow.
I mean, you meet a cast of characters.
Right.
You got highly educated white collar crime people
Mm-hmm.
with the dregs of the dregs.
Mm-hmm.
Gold teeth, no teeth, all sorts of stuff. And the camp that I was in was Coleman, in it's outside of Orlando, and in the asshole of the world, like cow country. And they were schlepping all the girls. They didn't have a camp. And I know you think it's funny. It's funny now.
The way you describe it is funny. Yeah.
They would schlep these girls in from Puerto Rico. So it is true that the blacks stay together, the Hispanics stay together, and all the others are lumped into one group. That's whites, Indians, island people.
Yeah.
We're in another group.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, I know we've been talking for a while now.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess I really want to get to so is your whole prison experience in which book?
Book 3.
Book 3.
So
okay.
let me show you. This is book 1.
Yeah.
With me on the cover, End of My Personal Life. This is book 2. That's Mr. Right and Mr. Right Now. This is the End of My Professional Life. And then this is the camp, Rising After the Fall. But the 3/4 of the book is about camp. The last part of the book is my takeaways. Well, what did I learn in prison?
That's exactly what I was gonna get to, because just as soon as you got on the Zoom with me, you just have this burst of energy that I just felt it was incredible. So I just feel like you have this amazing energy. I feel like you rebuilt yourself. You're rebuilding yourself.
I did.
Yeah. So
what are you gonna do?
So how do you do that after losing everything?
Well, the feds took everything I had, by the way. My 401k that I had built up for almost 30 years. Boom. All the money in my accounts. Boom. I sold my building in 2016. I sold it for the same price I paid for it, but it had $333,000 worth of equity. Boom, gone. The only thing that I have is my house. But you know what? I don't want for nothing. I live my life. I came out of it. This is where this was really, when I came out in 2019, and I'll make it really short. I looked at Steve, who's Mr. Right now, Mr. Right. I looked at him and I said, what am I going to do? For my whole identity, I was a chiropractor for 30 years. And if we ever do another podcast and I talk about the camp, it's these hands that saved me in the camp. But I looked at him and I go, what am I going to do? And he goes, you're going to work for me. He said, you're going to learn how to do backflows. You're going to get licensed. I go, plumbing? He goes, yeah. You're going to learn how to do permitting, Linda. And you're going to market my company. Within 2 years, I doubled his
Whoa.
Been established since 2001, and then I come in there and I joined all these marketing groups, and I just then his office manager leaves, and now I'm doing dispatching and this and that, which I really hated. I said, look, I don't want to spend my time sitting in front of a computer. It's not who I am. So I just still market his company, and it's doing fantastic, and life goes on.
Was there like any moment that you thought, yeah, I'm gonna be okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, when I arrived at the camp, I was like a deer in the headlights, to be honest with you, and I'll tell you about that at another time. But I said to myself, okay, I'm stuck here for 7 months. I might as well just make the best of it, and I did. And I managed. I read 52 books. I learned how to crochet. And I wrote my book in the camp. So in 7 months, I was pretty damn busy. I also taught Pilates to the women. And then I used to. There was no bars in the camp, honey. We had a track. So we would get our mats, and I'd say, "Okay, guys, we're really not in a federal prison in the middle of nowhere. We are on a cruise, and we're going to do a Pilates class." I had music. And I used to. The girls loved it. It started out with 20 girls, like 5 girls, and it moved to 15. Then it was 20. Then there'd be like 35 women there doing Pilates.
Wow. Talk about changing mindset.
Do you know what the average inmate gains in weight when she arrives there?
Oh, you know what? I have absolutely no idea. Is it like 50 or something? 35
pounds.
Wow.
Because they're coming off of drugs, a lot of them.
Yeah.
So now they just transform it to eating. It's crazy. It is one crazy. But what can I tell you that helped me? And I'll leave you with this. Is that, remember what I said before, you don't know the light until you know the dark?
Yeah, that's right.
When you're at that rock bottom, there's nowhere to go but up. And I made the best of a lot of situations. There were times, I'm not going to lie to you, that I wanted to lift up a rock and dig and bury myself under it. But I'm not a quitter, and I just kept going. And I discovered that I had a lot of talents along the way. And I was like Switzerland in the camp. I got along with the blacks, I got along with the Hispanics, and everybody else. And I learned how strong I really, really am. Yes, I had different techniques that I used to do, like when I was going through that prosecutor stuff, and at nighttime I couldn't sleep. You know that you know how you're laying in bed and the tapes are playing over and over and over. You know, we've all been there.
Yeah.
Mr. Right Now said to me, when you got to get out of your head and into your body. So that would mean I would get up, walk, exercise. I don't care what time it was. Swim. I had to short circuit that thing that was playing. Also, I did gardening. I put music on and I gardened. I thought there's something grounding about pulling weeds out of your garden. It really helped me. And yes, I worked out like a maniac. My body became beautiful because I just kept working out because I had to do something with this energy.
Right.
And I got through it. And I'm proud to say that I'm really happy and I'm good with who I am now. And those chapters, that prison thing, that thing with my husband, those were chapters in my life. Not it doesn't define me.
Yep.
So anybody who's out there listening to this, you're going through some crap times, going through a divorce, and all, that stuff is not going to define you. It's just a chapter in your life. Yeah, you could be miserable for a while, but don't stay too long in it. You got to move through it and push through. And that's the hard part, is to keep pushing through.
Wow, wow! That's exactly. I was going to ask you your advice for for people, and you just nailed it. And also, it's never too late to
Mm-hmm.
to change all
I'm
this.
in my 60s now, and I feel like I'm 35 again. I just, I take care of myself. I exercise. I mothers, as mothers, we give everything to our children. Then we get married, we give everything to our husband. I was a great chiropractor. And then one day I looked in the mirror, I'm like, who is that? Like Linda got lost in the midst of everything. I reclaim my daughter's in medical school. My son is a very successful realtor in Tampa, one of the top realtors. And I look, and now it's like Linda's time to live. They're on their way. I got them on the straight and narrow. I raised two people going to me, how did you raise such great kids? I go, I was real with them. What am I going to do? Here's their father's a drug addict, dies. Their mother winds up in federal prison, and yet my kids turned out normal. How is that?
Yeah.
Communication, Oh. My son used to visit me in the camp, and he used to go, look, Ma, freedom on this. And we used to play what we call prison rummy. He would come spend a Sunday afternoon with me on visitation. I laugh at it now, and I laugh back then, but it was hard. It was hard. I'm not going to lie, but I got through it.
Yeah. Yeah. You've always been a badass. Even though there were times that you might not have felt it, but as you're speaking, like, with your husband and everything after, when he was dying, just through that. And
tell the women out there too one more thing. There is strength in vulnerability. If you got a problem with your boss and you come at him with 2 fists and like vinegar, you're going to get that back, because he's going to be. But if you come at him from a really vulnerable place, hey, this is what's happening with me, this is what I need you to help me with this, or I need to get more money. If you come from that vulnerable place, that women are show that vulnerable side. Yes, I know I was a badass, Paul, but I'm also was very vulnerable too. Now, those Ukrainians fed on me because I was so vulnerable, but I learned.
Yep.
I learned. I put that in my bag of arsenal, and I keep going. Okay, I won't do that again. Let me cross that off the bucket list.
Yeah.
Whose life turned out the way they wanted? Did your life, like right now, did your life turn out the way you wanted?
Oh, no way. Nope.
Okay.
Not at all.
Well, every one of your listeners would probably be going like, yeah, that's probably right.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, definitely take the lessons that you got. Like, one thing that comes to mind is to follow your gut, follow your instincts, because that's where I've always gone wrong, is if I don't listen to myself and I do what other people think is the right thing for me, and it's not. Yeah.
If I didn't buy that building, I wouldn't have been in a financial disarray. If I didn't listen to my gut with those people, I wouldn't have gotten in trouble. I didn't follow my natural instinct. It led me down a very dark path. The dark night of the soul, I call it. Those are my dark night of the soul chapters.
Yep.
And what I did was I went to, in Florida here, I went to a radio show. And I put my books, I narrated them. And they're on Audible.
Okay.
So, because people don't read now, the new generation doesn't read that. So if you go on Audible, you can find them. And it's me narrating them. So it's like you're sitting having a cup of coffee with Linda. So that's the story. And I go live on TikTok with my rescue baby squirrels. And I tell my story all the time. I don't have anything to hide. I'm like an open book. You want to judge me, that's fine. I really don't care. It's, my experience, my life.
Right. Yep. Well, other people think that's their business. So.
Right. Exactly right, Paul.
Yeah. I just want to thank you so much for your inspiring conversation. This is incredible. Yeah, it just reminds us that a story doesn't end with the hardest chapter. So
That's
that's
right.
for sure.
That's right.
Um,
And you'd be surprised the transformation that happens. You might like
mm,
yourself more on the other end of it than
yeah.
you did going in,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Yep.
So
It was a rising like a phoenix.
rising, I describe that in my author's bio. I say it's like the phoenix process, coming through the flames of destruction and coming out transformed. And
Right.
it's true.
So true.
So in the back of book 3, I talk about grief, not only for somebody dying, grief of a marriage that's fallen apart, grief of the way things. I got a 93-year-old father. I'm grieving him already. He hasn't passed away,
Mm-hmm.
but he's
Oh.
changing.
Mm-hmm.
Forgiveness, motherhood, aging. Oh my God,
Yeah.
I have a lot of pearls of wisdom in there.
Well, you're definitely gonna have to come back on if you'd like to come on. There's a
Yeah,
lot more we can cover for sure.
love to do another episode about what the camp is like.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, we'll definitely have to do that. Yeah, you're amazing. Where can everyone find your books and learn
It's
more about
on
your work?
Amazon.
Hmm.
If you want to read it, it looks like this: The Girl with the $1 Million Smile with me on the cover. Also on Audible, it looks the same way, and then I would be narrating it. So that's how they can find me.
Amazing. And like you said, what's your TikTok handle?
The Life of Mr. Peaches. That's my squirrel. So
I
it's
love it.
Mr. Peaches and me. So,
Yeah, yeah, there's something about squirrels. I love squirrels. They have like
oh,
these
they're great.
personalities that people don't realize. Yeah. Thank you so much for
My
for
pleasure.
joining me. And
Let
yeah,
me know if you want me to come back on. I'm more than happy to share the story and help people try to find the light and find their way through these horrible situations. It's just one gigantic learning experience,
it
life.
is.
It's
It
just
sure
like,
is.
I had to grow up in public. I was
Mm.
40, I, when my husband went crazy, I was 44 years old. I had
Mhm.
to put my big girl panties on for what was coming next in my life, and I did.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah. That's incredible. Yeah, we'll definitely do this again. Thank you so much, and thank you for
well,
everybody for listening and watching. And we'll see you next time.
have a great day, everybody.
And now's the part of the show where Paul tries to figure out how to shut off the live stream. Oh, I think I did it.